Let's talk sleep and shift work. Anyone who's done shift work, myself included, knows that it is absolutely brutal on your sleep patterns, but there are some things that you can do to try and optimize your sleep whilst doing shift work. Getting a good period of sleep during shift work starts well before the wind down procedure to get to sleep. So what you're doing in the hours leading up to sleep, potentially while you're still at work, can have an impact on that sleep period. And one of the key things you want to be aware of is your caffeine intake. So it's quite common, and I certainly used to lean on it, to drink a lot of coffee during night shift to stay awake and to pep me up to stay alert for my job as a doctor on night shift in an emergency department. What caffeine does is it blocks a receptor in your brain called the adenosine receptor. Now, adenosine is a chemical that does a number of things, but it builds up in your body during a period of being awake, and it contributes to helping you feel tired. So if you can block the receptors in your brain for adenosine using caffeine, it can help make you feel a little bit more alert. Now, that can also hinder your ability to get to sleep. So ideally, using caffeine as a tool to get awake at the start of a shift and maybe stay awake and alert at the start of a shift, but to then taper it off during your shift, and certainly ideally in the 4, 5, 6, maybe 8 hours before sleep, if that's possible, trying to wind the caffeine right back and avoiding it certainly in the hours immediately before bed will make sure that some adenosine can build up and hit those receptors on your brain and help you feel sleepy and get to sleep. Another thing to keep in mind when it comes to sleep as a shift worker is that sleep debt or sleep deprivation is cumulative. So it does add up night in, night out. And so if you've got a run of nights, I used to do 6 nights in a row as a doctor in ED, that reduced period of sleep each night or each day as it was, each 24-hour period, will add up. It's cumulative. And what that equates to is a thing called a sleep debt. You're kind of chronically sleep deprived. And in your period where you have time off, or if you are able to have some days off, or you're shifting back to a day cycle, trying to pay some of that sleep debt off is a great idea. So ideally, you want to allow your body to sleep a bit longer and wake up a bit later on days where you can. So pay off some of that sleep debt. You need to balance that against the need to get back into a routine for day shift or evening shift or whatever you're cycling into, or maybe just your days off and then going back into night shift. But where possible, you want to prioritize your sleep on those days off and try and sleep a few extra hours where you can to pay off some of that cumulative sleep debt that occurs over multiple nights of doing night shift or not quite getting enough sleep when you shift working. While there are a whole bunch of things that you might be able to do to optimize your sleep as a shift worker, from making sure you're keeping the room nice and dark and cold and you're minimizing the chance of being woken by distractions such as your phone or by light, minimizing caffeine, minimizing alcohol, regulating your food before bed, all these good things, despite your best efforts, you might still find that you're struggling with sleep as a shift worker. And if that's the case, then I recommend you book an appointment with your doctor. There's a lot of things that your doctor might be able to suggest up and above this, and including potentially prescription medications to help you sleep. But hopefully some of the stuff that we've discussed will be of assistance and just allow you to optimize that sleep as a shift worker.